Listen, I don't like starting off a video with an apology, but I have to apologize to the channel member that recommended this prompt because I realized I might have taken it a different way than they intended, and I didn't ask and I didn't clarify, so I hope that today's prompt is on point with what this person was thinking. Hello friends, happy Wednesday. So very excited that you're here. It is going to be an exciting video because honestly we're going to be talking about some of my favorite isekai manga, or I guess you would say time travel, because today's prompt or theme is all about second chances. And the reason I started out with an apology is because it dawned on me much later she could have meant second chance romance and not second chance like isekai time travel, but my brain went to the time travel aspect road here. I'm not sure what that says about me, but if I did do the second chance romance, I don't know that many. I don't know that many that have like a second chance. Wait, as I was about to say, I don't know many manga that I have that fit the second chance romance. One came to me and it fits for the second chance timeline kind of thing. I said, we are doing it. I was like, how could I forget this the first time? I even looked through my manga collection, y'all. Oh my goodness, y'all, what a morning. But anyway, shout out to my Patreon channel members. Thank you guys for the prompt. I'm really excited for this. So I went again down the second chance isekai. So it's different than I feel like your typical isekai where they die, get a second chance. But I feel like it's different because you could have, like, say villains are destined to die. In Penelope's past life, she dies and now she has been reincarnated as a villainess, somebody completely different. Usually, I feel like in a second chance, when it's all about the timeline, typically that person, yes, they may die or something happened to them, and then time rewinds back to a sooner period in their life where they have a second chance, you know, to make things different in this second timeline. So I'm going down that angle, and maybe just because I read a lot of isekai, and it was hard not to use villains are destined to die, but I'm like, that's not a second chance manhwa, but you know, my villainous loving heart wanted to do some, but I actually don't have any villainous manga, but or manhwa I do have one manhwa, but this video is already chaotic, but let's go ahead, jump into number one. These are no certain order. What I was gonna say about a second chance romance and not having something, y'all, this came to mind, and I am just upset with myself because I have read this more than once. I have a video review on this channel. I absolutely love it. It's a josei series, and that's We Swore to Meet in the Next Life, and that's when things got weird. I love this josei manga so very much. It is so sweet, so wholesome. It is so beautiful. It is about, now I will warn real quick, if you're not a fan of age gaps, this one does have a big honkin', I think it even says here, yeah, he's 17, she's 39, but I promise I'm gonna tell you how it works because it does work for the story and it didn't feel weird, and anything that could have been weird was addressed right from the start, and I absolutely loved it for that because I don't have too much problem with an age gap romances and stuff, but I do love when we have this big of an age gap that it is addressed by one of the partners, because I feel like it makes it more realistic, because I feel like for most people, maybe if there's that big, if there's like a 10+ age gap, that needs to be addressed. Maybe that's just me personally. I'm in a 7-year age gap and I never thought about those things. At least younger me did not think about those things. I still don't. But anyway, when it comes to this manga, so these two actually in their previous life, she was a princess and he was a knight. They had strong feelings for each other. In fact, they loved each other, but she knew that she had her duty as a princess to go off and marry somebody else that was not him. Thing is though, is she gets into a tragic accident and he promises himself that in his next life, he will find her. Comes and goes the next life, and he's 17, she's 39, and even though she held out hope that she would meet him, it's not till she's 39 years old until she finally does. And when he sees her, because she feels like she's too old to now be in a relationship to be tied, she doesn't want him to feel tied down, but he is like, you are my princess, age is just a number, and all I want is you. But people are like, dude, you're a high schooler, she's an older woman, like that is just no. But his heart is determined, and we find out through things that he has spent literally his entire second life looking for her, and age is truly just a number to him. I love this manga. I know I already said that, but it was so wonderful. I don't know what I expected when I first read this. Again, I have a video review if you're curious of my thoughts on it, because I vividly remember binge reading all 3 volumes in one day day. I think it was my friend Emily at Meet the Weave Family. No, she changed her username, so I will leave it right here. But on Instagram, they also have a channel, though they're on hiatus right now. But she had shared about it, and I went to Second and Charles. I got volume 1 and volume 2, and then I bought volume 3 new, I think. I know I bought volume 3 later, and then when it came in the mail, I read all of it. I was having issues with getting my son's antibiotic at the time. Man, I cried like a baby at the end. It was really sweet, though. There's this beautiful relationship, and seeing them genuinely have this second chance, not only at a new life with different roles, but also at their romance, and how you see how they were in the past, deeply wanting to be by each other's side, and they were by each other's side, but it was not in a relationship like that they both wanted. And so in this lifetime, in this timeline, however you want to say that, they really are getting to know each other in a way that they were not able to because of their social status beforehand. And it is the sweetest thing. Like, one of the things is Flowers. Flowers plays a very important role in this story, and how it really ties both timelines together. And his love for our female lead is rock solid and strong, and she's so worrisome and so helpful. She's really the same person she was in the first timeline, just without the princess title. Granted, in his heart, in his eyes, she's always going to be a princess. But I really loved seeing them be able to go on normal dates, and seeing her then worry, like, what are people going to think? Like, is she a sugar mama kind of thing? Her freak out about that, and him not freak out about that. Like, I forget what nickname she gave him, but man, he acts like a golden retriever, and I just loved his energy that he had, and how he just was so persistent, not in a way that maybe could be considered toxic or anything, because he was so respectful. Because when she's like, you know, maybe we just should not move forward because the feelings are out there, the feelings have been known. She's like, you've got your whole life ahead of you, and I don't want you to be stuck with me or tied down to me. And he respects those moments, or even like when he wants to hold her hand and she's not ready, he backs off, but he still makes his feelings known in these small, subtle ways, sometimes louder ways. There's no doubt anywhere, there's no room for it, so that she can definitely know he still loves her with all of his heart. It is a beautiful second chance romance that, again, I would highly recommend it. It's 3 volumes. I unfortunately don't know how hard it is to find, since I got the first 2 copies used several years ago, and then got volume 3, but I love it, and I am just so disappointed myself that I did not think about it when doing this prompt, but thankfully it came to mind, and I was able to share it because I genuinely love this series so much. I have reread it more than one time, that is for sure. For number 2, another one that came to mind was Marry My Husband. Y'all, man, I love this manhwa. I binge read it on Webtoons. It's an interesting series for me because I do feel like it's on the darker side. You may want to look up some trigger warnings for this, genuinely, because there was a time in maybe, I forget how many seasons it is, but we'll say at least the 2nd season that I almost dropped it because I was like, oh, this is getting pretty dark. But it is about our female lead. When we first meet her, she, I believe, is a cancer patient. I know that she has a terminal illness, and she has been engaged. She's actually married to her husband. He's not really visiting her, and she just sort of, I feel like she's just sort of getting by. And then something happens and she decides to go home. And when she goes home, she sees her husband, her best friend, in the bed together. Of course, she is livid. She's upset. Everything that she felt up to this moment has been a lie, she feels like. She ends up dying because of something that happens to her, and she is given a second chance. And I forget how many years it rewinds back, but it's before she's even engaged to her future husband. Knowing what she knows, she is, as the title says, she wants her best friend to marry her husband. And look, I'm not one for revenge plots. That's not necessarily my cup of tea, but the revenge plot in this, it was good, y'all. It was good. I was seated for it because she knows things from the previous timeline. She really uses that to her advantage, and she comes across as maybe a little bit gullible. He can't figure out why, like her husband before, can't figure out why she seems sort of different, but her best friend is her best friend, excuse me, because that girl has never ever once been the female lead's best friend. She tried to set up her downfall every single time. If our female lead got these really beautiful earrings, oh, her best friend got to get it, and she does it better. Like, everything, she has to one up the female lead. And so the female lead has this knowledge, and she uses it to her advantage in really subtle, sly ways, not to hurt anybody, okay? But she can turn and work the conversations that people don't view her best friend in the best of light anymore. It was the most satisfying thing, seeing everything she has been working up to in this new timeline, and seeing the downfall for the characters, well executed. That's all I could say. Well executed. There's one manhwa I would love to see get physically printed. I know it has a live action. I can't remember if it's on Netflix or not. Some people said it changed and it wasn't quite as dark. And I said, well, not really one to read dark things in general typically, but I don't want to lose that aspect because I truly was just blown away of when certain characters get their way and how they reacted to supposedly having this happy ending and them not feeling happy. It was very interesting seeing the reactions in those situations. I'm just thankful that overall though, for a female lead, she had a wonderful, beautiful, happy ending. And I feel like the team or the creators who worked on it, they knew exactly what the readers want and gave us some side stories at the end that really just made the ending everything. I loved being on this journey. I love seeing the happy ending. I would highly recommend it if you want a second chance with some dark revenge, not necessarily by the female lead, but seeing them characters just go down a path. I was like, you know, I know things were going to be different this second timeline, but man, you really went down a dark road and you were by yourself. It had a lot of twists and turns that really kept me on the edge of my seat and at times even left me nervous and fearful for a female lead because I didn't know what was going to happen to her in this timeline because of these other characters that are surrounding her. I mean, thankfully the male lead is awesome and he is rock solid. I appreciated that he was by her side more often than not, especially in those times where I did feel really nervous for her. But as I was saying, I would recommend though, if you want a second chance story, want that revenge plot, want something a little bit darker that has some twists and turns and you really see the bad in people, I guess you would say, this is a good one to read. I really enjoyed it and I've missed the characters. I think about them pretty often, it feels like. I haven't felt like a strong urge to come back and reread the series, but it is one that left a very strong impression on me and one I'm still, to this day, since I read it, it's probably been, what, maybe a year now, recommending and putting on the 7th Seas form because I really want it printed. Oh, for number 3, man, if we got the dark, well, let's see, we had the fluffy, we had the dark, now we're gonna have the angsty here. That is reliving my life with a boyfriend who doesn't remember me. This actually won my shoujo event if you want to check out the details and everything that entails and what's going to be happening because I'm going to be having a review this upcoming Friday. I just got to start reading. I had like wiped out on Monday with a migraine and it left me bedridden, I guess you would say, and I just read all day, but I didn't read this one. I read a novel instead. Go me. But anyway, talking about reliving my life with a boyfriend who doesn't remember me. Oh my goodness. You could say honestly the series was a second chance for me, though not because I dropped it the first time, but I have shared in the past that I gave my volumes to a friend because I thought, well, I really enjoyed it, but I may not want to come back to it. Again, not because I didn't like it, but I just like, oh, you know, it was great. But no, my brain was like, you need to go get those other volumes. So I rebought them at Christmas. I have been passionately loving it since. And this series is about our main female lead. Her name is Oriana and our male lead, Vincent. And they're 17 years old, happily. They're about to graduate actually. But then tragedy strikes and something mysteriously happens and Vincent actually dies. Not only just him though, but Oriana does as well. And when she wakes up, because she wakes up, she realizes she's 7 years old and it's been 10 years in the past. She wants to find out what happened to Vincent. But as the title comes into play, she goes through all these years. She's determined to get back at this academy so she can meet the man she loves all over again, right? When she sees him, she runs up to him a hug and like, I finally get to see you. He has no memory of who this girl is and thinks she's some crazy woman and has mistaken him for somebody else. And she is crushed. So this is Oriana's story of going to this academy, loving this young man who has no memories of the previous timeline. She's trying to figure out what happened to him because something happened. He unexpectedly died and it was a really weird, bizarre way that he went out, like not gory or anything, but it was odd. And so she's trying to put these like clues together, but at the same time, she deeply loves him and I want to say she's trying to convince him to love her back, but her love naturally flows out for him. And I feel like the 3rd volume, I don't have it on me, but I feel like the 3rd volume was so every volume has been incredible. Cried in volume 2, I'm pretty sure. And then volume 3, I'm pretty sure I cried in volume 3 as well. Like the angst has just been amping up and it's hard seeing Oriana where she has these memories of the first timeline. And you would think, well, this is a second chance manga, but the second chance is just not flowing the same way that it did the first time. Vincent is not falling for her the same way. She has these memories of things that happened that are very similar to the first timeline and it is just crushing her. it's just crushing me. I've said it. Me and my friend Danielle have talked about it. Come on here and I said, I don't like Angst. But here I am saying I love this series. And I don't know if I'm reading, except for Gaze at the Star Next Door, which is another angsty series. Those two are some of my favorite ongoing series. And yet they're one of the most angstiest series I've read in like a super long time. And the only ones I'm keeping up with. I'm excited to dive back into the series. As of filming this video, no, I have not read it because I didn't want to put all my rambles here. I wanted to wait for Friday's video. So please stay tuned for that. But definitely, if you need a second chance romance and you don't want that boat to sail quick, you don't want to see the ship sail in like 2 volumes, this is your series. This is your series. I have heard friends say that they were really turned off by Oriana because she is very pushy. I feel like she respects his boundaries though. Like when he says you need to stop saying, I love you, Vincent, I love you, Vincent, I love you so much, Vincent, that she does really reel back. But she's still internally really struggling reeling back because she just loves him so much. I am very, very excited to be back into the series. This will be probably roughly my 3rd time rereading it because every time I read it once, I've got to read it again and I'm excited. But my heart's not excited. But I'm excited to be back with these characters and looking forward to giving an actual review this Friday. Number 4. Oh, I'm excited for this one. This is a manga and light novel series, but I'm mainly just going to be touching on the manga, hopefully, and thus I swear I won't bother you again. I actually just read volume 5, the final light novel, yesterday. No, I have not read the other series, but shout out to my friend Gira who had gifted me volume 5 of the light novel because we both love the characters and she's like, girl, you need to see how it ends. And I won't go into details about that because it'd be major spoilers, but it did make me really happy and I did cry. But rewinding, because I had to go back and I was like, how did this series start again? It is about our female lead who I absolutely love. And the first timeline was filled with jealousy and went out and tried to kill her half-sister. She was not successful, which was a good thing, but she was forever thrown in prison. And I can't remember for her in this timeline if I think she just died in prison. I think that's what happened with her because the next one I'm going to feature, I know how she died from a pretty tragic death, honestly. But Violetta, more or less though, before she ends up dying, that she prays that she could have a second chance and that she would do things differently. Her prayer is answered and she goes back, I think it's a year before? Yes, she goes back 1 year prior and this time she vows to herself that she will leave everybody alone. She won't get involved with the prince who she was obsessively in love with. She won't bother her half-sister Mary June because she doesn't want to kill her, and then she would just actually become a nun because then she wouldn't be surrounded by anybody and nothing would happen to her. Obviously though, it sort of has those villainous vibes, doesn't it? And we know how that goes. That story's not going to unfold the way the main female character wants it to. It just doesn't happen because then we wouldn't have a story, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, this is Violetta's story of her second chance and her really doing everything she can to avoid all the pitfalls, all the mistakes she made, and just trying her best to avoid all the people that she wronged or crossed paths with in a negative way. Like she really just didn't want that. And thankfully we got my boy Yulin though. He's in this timeline. He's in the first and second. I love him. He is fantastic. This is, I think, 5 volumes? Yes, it is 5 volumes. Volume 6 releases, I think, later this year. The series is slow releasing, but I really, really love the characters. I want nothing but her happiness. But my boy Yulin, going back to him, he could be considered toxic, I'm not gonna lie, but I don't care because he loves Violetta so much that he will do anything, and I mean anything for her, and I'm 100% backing him. I'm like, do what you gotta do to make sure our girl is happy because she's so sad. And I feel like she could be so cold-hearted. Like she could be a completely different person, but she honestly takes this second chance to change her life around, but I don't feel it was for the best of ways. And that's why I'm so invested into this series because I need characters like Yulin who show her she is worthy of being loved. She deserves affection. And the affection she has been shown in some really scary, horrifying ways is not what real love is. It is not the kind of even attention she deserves, that anybody deserves for that matter. If you need to see a series that Grant has slow releases, but you want to see a series where a female lead undergoes this journey of trying to free herself from a toxic environment, from toxic family members, and that's why we got Yulin here, who's going to help her see, hopefully, that she really is somebody worth fighting for her freedom from the environment she's in. Last but that least for number 5, this series I genuinely did give a second chance because when I read it, I didn't like it the first time, but then we got news of the anime and I came back and I absolutely loved it, and that is Tear Moon Empire. I do have a video review on this channel if you're curious about it because I did it before the anime. I think I did volumes 1 and 2. Mia is a hoot. She is a hoot. It is about our female lead. Her name is Mia, and she is so snobby, so selfish, and in the first timeline, her country is at war, the people are starving, and she's sort of having this mindset of, well, just let them eat cake. Yeah, just let them eat cake. I mean, she doesn't say that line exactly like that, but that's the idea here, that she really doesn't care, but like give them something else. While she is over here feasting, a revolt rises, and yeah, they go for Mia's head, and they are successful, but she, like Villainess, she prays for a second chance, and Mia is given this, and she knows that she's having the second chance. I forget how many years it was back for her, but she goes back to when she's 12 years old. Interesting enough for this series, I loved how when she wakes up in this second timeline, or with this second chance, she has the diary that has the blood stains, her blood stains from the first timeline, and she vows to herself as well that she will not have that same outcome. Problem is that Mia could still be pretty selfish. And that was my problem the first time I read it, is I was just like, y'all, get your blindfolds off and see Mia for who she really is. But the thing is the more I kept reading of this series, Mia, yes, she's all about herself, and she's all about avoiding that guillotine. But Mia does have a big heart, and you can see the changes in her. And now, even though this is a very humorous series, because even when she, like Violet, she's trying to avoid certain people, she comes across them. She's thinking, well, if I do XY thing, they will definitely avoid me. And she sort of does XY thing, and no, they love her more and want to be around her more. And she is horrified and is like, why? I just want to go to school, want to change things, don't want to interact with you, because these people who were loving her more were part of the people that were in her demise during the revolution, or, you know, revolt, however you want to say that, in the previous timeline. So there is this very interesting underlying fearful tone that's coming from Mia, where she's still at times acting very selfish, very haughty, but yet she can be really humbled real fast. That's because of her fear that she's feeling towards these people. Like the latest volume, I love seeing Mia terrified. It was hilarious. I know that sounds really bad. I'm sorry, friends. But if you read and you see the pages of the expressions that the artist makes, because they really bring this series to life, and I will say as a hilarious narrator who really lets it known to the reader, like, yeah, Mia's doing this again. Like, okay, here we go. You know, we know the deal, but the people around Mia don't know the deal, and they all seen her like a saint slash angel, and they're like, no, she ain't. If you were her mind, no, she ain't. No, she ain't. But again, that is what really adds to the series' charm, and so glad I gave it a second chance, because I've loved seeing Mia genuinely grow as a human being, seeing her not realize it, and maybe it's not, hopefully it's not just me, like, looking too deep into it, but her genuinely fall in love with another character. I am loving that. I love that ship. I am hardcore on that ship, and I'm like, it better sail. If it doesn't sail, I'm gonna be crying over here. But seeing, yeah, her fall in love, seeing her make changes because she wants to avoid the guillotine, but also because some of those changes are really sincere, like when she wants to genuinely help people. And she's very smart, because not just because she knows like her diary and stuff, but there is one incident where she realizes if she acts out a certain way, which wasn't the smartest of ways, but if she acts out in a certain way, then she can help two sets of people. But it was just really scary in that moment, because some of the people were angry and wanted to, you know, take out her life for what she was doing. Then the other people she wanted to protect them. So there's times where she could be very smart and very witty, and I really appreciate those moments. Though the humor, the biggest thing I love about this series is honestly the expressions that Mia makes. It is grand, and why can't I find it? And honestly too, how many people can say here? So here we go, guys. So how many volumes or series do you know of? We have a normal looking guillotine, right? Well, Mr. Guillotine here is anything but normal. Tell me, what guillotine puts up a peace sign like this, and at numerous points of the story will just run after Mia in Mia's mind because she's afraid of what's happening to her? Like, I love the guillotine just for that, and Mia's expressions. Like, here's another one, here's the guillotine, see, he's coming for Mia, he's coming for Mia. But I love loved so much, like the art is everything and the characters, the more I have got to know them, even Mia herself, especially Mia, maybe especially Mia, has been a very fun, satisfying, heart-touching journey. When I came back to this, I didn't expect to be invested. Like the end of what, last year or the year before, this was one of my favorite volumes. And it's a series that, yeah, I am paying a little bit more pricier volumes for, yeah, $16 for this short little manga right here, and it is smaller than your average manga. You're paying a right big bit for a small chunk, but it has been so worth it. I have deeply loved it. If you're looking for a second chance story where you're seeing the female lead just sort of tumble her way through her decisions, or not tumble, excuse me, fumble her way through decisions, thinking she's really big brain, but she's really not that big brain. She's got a great cast of characters around her, and you want something very humorous, I would highly recommend checking out the manga or the anime. I've seen not all of the anime, but I have seen some of it, and it was just as funny as the manga is. It's been a great time. Again, I'm glad to, I guess, wrap up this video that I gave it a second chance because it is worthy of a second chance, and I hope that Mia, in this second time around, is very successful in her goals. She is aiming, well, not just her goals of, you know, like not dying, but helping her people, changing things for the better. It has been awesome on so many different levels, and as you can see, I have loved a lot of these. I love how much diversity we had, you know what I'm saying? What, we had fluff, we had dark, we had angst, we had, I don't know what we would say for Violetta, and then we had some humor. We had a little bit of everything. I'm really happy with everything I said because I feel like there was, through all these, there's just something a little bit for everyone. I don't know, everybody loves this, you know, timeline, isekai kind of travel thing, but I love all these and would highly recommend all of them. I hope Marry My Husband gets printed eventually one day. I would love to hear from you, friends. Do you enjoy reading a second chance manga? I guess whether that is like the timeline stuff like I featured, or maybe when it comes to romance. And if you have any recommendations for either, let me know down below. And if you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe. Thank you so much for watching. Bye!